What's going on, guys? Army-Firedawg is back again. How have y'all been? As you can see, I'm probably look a bit different, maybe sound different. I just got my new camera. This is the first time I've ever used it. I'm praying I have my microphone set up correctly, but if I don't, well, I guess y'all can just laugh along with me. Or I'll edit out and you won't see any of this. Anywho, today I have the review video for you of another product that Audiofly sent to me, and that is their over-ear variant, their AF240. As I was saying, this is that I know of, this is their only over-ear model that they offer. And it's a pretty cool little look overall. I'm kind of jumping a little bit, but I just can't get over how simple but retro and cool they look. To me personally, of course. But real quick, I did make a pretty bad error in my unboxing video by saying that these were roughly $80. These are actually right about, depending where you want to shop through, $180. And I explained it all in my unboxing review, but when I went to search the price, the first link that popped up had some kind of third-party site, and I linked where they were as well, and they had the price, and they showed a picture of this. However, if you read the description of the product they're actually selling, it was for an IEM. I think it was for the AF100 earbuds, if I'm not mistaken. But that's neither here nor there. I made an error. These are $180, not roughly $80. My apologies. Anywho, moving on with the review, as I like to always do, I like to start with the construction of the product, and then I'll work my way down from there. So the construction of this product, of the AF240s, I will say are actually pretty nice. It is almost exclusively plastic throughout its entirety, from its headband down to the ear cups themselves. They do use, as I'm sure you can see, some faux leather on the headband, as well as underneath, and the ear pads themselves. But other than those exceptions, it is pretty much exclusively plastic, which leads into how light these are. These are very, very lightweight. I've had these on my head for several hours. I think my longest one listening session is roughly 4 hours at one go. But I've done that several times, and not once have I been fatigued as far as like them being heavy, or especially heavy on my ears, but I did have to reposition them every now and then, but I will touch on that in the next section. One note I do want to talk about, and it is, for me personally, a negative, is the interesting suspension system that the AF240s use. They do not use the traditional click system, how you can adjust your headband and it'll automatically just stay there. These have like a spring load on each side, so that way it always goes back to its default smallest position. They also have that on the ear cups themselves, as in they would always go back to the default position, which is in. Now, the ear cup thing, that didn't bother me too much, but this, as simple as that is, for me personally, I didn't like it. For my headphones, I like to just grab them and put them on my head. I don't want to grab them, have to hold up on them, put them on my head, and then lower it down. I don't like that. It's very simple, doesn't take but a second to do, but I want my headphones just to be for my head. If someone else wants to listen to them, then they can adjust it. One kind of artistic looking is the frame. I don't know how to describe this part, but right here, how it bends in, I just like the look of that. It's a little bit artistic. It's an offset color than the rest of it, and it just looks, in my opinion, it looks really nice. Now, as far as its movement, you do have a decent, obviously I showed you here, which is roughly 100 degrees, 110 degrees of movement, and you do have a good bit of play right here. So you shouldn't be able to find any issues with them fitting just about any ears. Between my big old Dumbo ears and my wife's really small ears, they fit, even for me, just fine. I did make contact on the tip and on the bottom of the lobe, but again, I will discuss that more in the next section. The cable is detachable. That is very, very nice. I wish this would be standard on all headphones. And on that note, the cable that actually comes with this is actually pretty nice. It is a really good looking cable, and it also has a little microphone built onto it. This is a universal single button mic that remotes by a single push, is play, pause, answer, or hang up for phone calls. If you quickly double press, that moves track forward, and if you quickly triple press it, it goes to the previous track. And then finishing off with the cable, Both ends are terminated with a 3.5mm unbalanced jack. So, push come shove, you can use this as an aux cable. Now, moving on to the comfort. And as I've discussed, the comfort of these is really not bad at all, despite them being, for an over-ear headphone, relatively small speaking. They do fit, even my big old ears. I do have to kind of work them in a little bit, and even after working them in, the main tip of my ear and the main bottom of my lobe does rest right here and right here, respectively. Now, that doesn't put any pressure on my ear because of the padding. It does start to wear after a while, especially with my glasses. It's probably mainly due to my glasses, so if you don't wear them, you likely will not have the same issue I did. But I did have to just kind of adjust them a little bit. Every 15, 20 minutes or so, I had to kind of give them just a little movement just to change the pressure point. On the note of them being on my head for a while, I did mow the lawn in these. I don't necessarily think they're sweat resistant, but it wasn't a long mow. It was just kind of finishing the top yard. But I digress. What I mainly want to touch on is its isolation factor. So the ability of the Audiofly AF240s to isolate some of the exterior noise is not the best. It's not bad, but it's not that great either. So if you have these on and you kind of want to just listen to your music, if you're in, like say, a house or apartment environment, probably going to be just fine. However, if you are outdoors, on a train, somewhere where there's a lot of people, a lot of general noise nearby, you are going to still hear quite a bit of that exterior noise. So be wary of that. Now, moving on to what y'all care probably the most about, and that is the sound quality. So how do the Audiofly AF240s sound? Starting with its general overall sound, the Audiofly AF240s, if I had to say, it doesn't excel in any genre of music, but it performs decently in about all of them. So, if it's one good thing I will say, and I kind of put this towards the start instead of the end, but one thing I think does have the AF240s do have going for them is just very non-fatiguing sound. To me, my ears, about the entire frequency spectrum is very soft. There's no harsh transitions between, even from the highs to the lows. It's just a very soft transition. Now, with that said, there are a bit of negatives in my personal opinion. The first off is that if you're listening to a large orchestral piece where there's a lot of moving pieces and things are all over the place, through the AF240s, things do start to sound a little bit, not claustrophobic, but they funnel together. As in, you can't really dissect, like, okay, here's my trumpets, here's my flutes, there's my drums. You hear the sound as a whole. And yes, that is the general idea of an orchestral piece, I understand that, but what I'm saying is when you really try and listen and focus, like on the higher end pair of headphones, or heck, in a live performance, you can close your eyes and listen, and you're like, okay, here's my trumpets over there, oh, my saxophones are right here in the center, oh, there's my snare drums right there, and then you can kind of pick apart the orchestral, and I like to do that, especially when it's just kind of fun to do, and just to hear the different nuances and different pieces and locations of where stuff is located. And with the AF240s, at least to me, I couldn't really get that. Also, with that being said, and that is possibly due to its very close soundstage. It's not claustrophobic in your face, but it's definitely not that far away. I'd say it's kind of like right here. Regardless of what you're listening to, or how high a quality of what it is you're recording from, you're always going to know you have headphones on your head. They don't really disappear. You always know you have headphones on, whether it be by how they feel or just the general sound. There's not really much transparency. I guess that's the actual word I should be trying to find, is transparency. But now jumping into the more individual aspects, so maybe I can kind of narrow in on how these sound a little bit better. So starting with the treble, and I'll work my way down from there. The treble on the Audiofly AF240s is very soft. More often than not, I compare an audio piece's treble to eyes, like a person's eyes. They are a piece or a sneak peek into the kind of emotion, the detail, and what that piece or person is kind of all about, is if you can see their eyes. As with the AF240s, as I said just a minute ago, they're very soft. They have a very sharp dip. Well, let me rephrase that. They have a very quickly rolled off dip, and it is a very steep dip in the treble range. As in, so if you're listening to a very energetic violin, such as Lindsey Sterling or Tinmon's A Moonfilled Sky, you can enjoy, very much so, and honestly enjoy those pieces. You just don't get that energy. You don't get that sparkle. You don't get that magic, if I can make sense of it. You hear it, and it's like, okay, that's a pretty piece. And a piece that really excels on, that I'm trying to talk about, is Tinkyu, and it's on the anime Kono no Oto and Sounds of Life. I don't know who the actual author is, but it's linked in my description. Love that piece. It's beautiful. But through these, there just wasn't that emotional magic that's within that piece. Now, moving on to the mid-range. The mids, I really ain't got to complain about. So, the first thing I usually test when I'm listening to a headphone or speakers or something is I want to test the mid-range, and I want to test the body, or how lifelike the vocals sound, how fleshy things sound, how good or how true. Like if you're standing next to someone in a choir and you just hear claps, like you're happy, you snap your hand, or have a hoarse voice, or just a general voice. I like to hear how well that can sound on a general audio piece. Now, with the Audiofly AF240s, I was very, very impressed. The ability to listen to these, and I'll use Nathaniel Ratliff's SOB, Trace Atkins, Muddy Water, as far as like the fleshy or throaty sound, Johnny Cash as well. But all of those just really sounded really fleshy, like very good to listen to. Like you could really, if you're on a mid-focus song, acoustic guitars is also really good. But you just, that's the best part is really what I think they focused on the AF240s is that mid-range. I can't call these quite a warm headphone, but they're definitely vocally musical. Now, actually, on the note of vocals, it doesn't matter if you're listening to male vocals. I already mentioned Trace Atkins, Johnny Cash, Nathaniel Ratliff's, but also female vocals. And the artist I'll use more specifically is Donna Burke and her Glassy Sky. That piece is very, very beautiful to listen to, especially if you match it to the Tokyo Ghoul anime. Highly recommend it. Not really for kids. I digress. But it's a really nice piece, and you really go to sing along. And like just listen to it. If you close your eyes, regardless if it's a him or her, it really sounds like they're singing to you. So to stop rambling, the mids I personally have no issues with. In fact, I really love them for the mids. So if you're very mid-focused, not warm sounding like I personally enjoy, but a very, very mid-forward piece. I also mentioned acoustic guitars and stuff like that. You're going to like the AF240s. Also, I put this as a side note in my review, but it's very true. And it's kind of music side part, but if you're listening to like a lot of podcasts, just general YouTube commentaries or lectures, these are awesome. The voice is so forward, you really hear that over about anything else. Completely side caveat, but really definitely something I wanted to bring to light. Now, moving on to the bass. So, the bass is the heartbeat of the music. Its job is to keep the rhythm and pace of everything. Now, as with the AF240s, you can definitely hear the bass, and you get it's there. However, similar to the treble, it's not that great. Now, granted, I am coming from a non-bass head point of view, but when I'm listening to, like, say, EDM or trap music or house or all that collaboration mixture thereof, they're fun to listen to, but you don't get that punch in your chest like you do with, obviously, speakers, but general more bassy or warmer sounding headphones. You just don't get that. You have the sound, you just don't get the oomph. The decay and the attack of the bass is there. And is actually quite impressive for the price point, which is, like I said, roughly $180. You just don't get the depth that you might be expecting when you first play a track. Now, as I've mentioned, you can still enjoy these with more of that the EDM, trap, etc. music. And a song I'll use for an example, and actually I'll use two. One of them is a selfish plug, but the first one is Crazy Train Remix by Insanime. I linked their video in my description, not my description, but in the review, which is linked in the description. But it's a really cool remake of Crazy Train with a more, it's either house, I don't know the difference between all of them. It's a better beat, it's a heavier beat than the traditional Crazy Train. And then the hard rock song, selfish plug on my part, is my own music video I made, which is the Army National Guard Always Ready, Always There music video, which also is linked in my review. So in conclusion, my overall thoughts on the Audiofly AF240s is that they're what you would expect headphone in the $180 price point. They didn't really excel or like super impress me on anything, but they didn't disappoint me on anything at all either. I got what I expected. In my personal opinion, Audiofly did a actual pretty impressive job on both their IEMs I just recently reviewed and the AF240s. As in, they present their music in a way that is, in my opinion, what it should be presented as. It is very musical. And that's something I had to kind of take a step back and tell myself, is that, hey, I'm trying to break down this headphone for all the nitty gritty and details. And yes, I get the overall sound because I want a more musical piece than analytical. But in terms of just musical enjoyment and nothing else, as in if you just want to sit back and you just want to listen to your music while you read a book, while you study, while you're trying to get something done on your game, the Audiofly of the two products I've listened to, both of them share that same music first format, that music first focus, as in it wants you to just shut up and enjoy your music. Just kind of sit back and enjoy it. And for that, I give great respects to Audiofly and their two AF240s. But my friends, if you have any questions, or if there's anything I may have missed that you would like me to clarify more, please hit me up in the comments down below. I will absolutely read and respond to each and every one of you. As you can see, I probably look a bit different. I hope this video turns out okay. Like I said, this is the first time I've even used this camera on the video settings. I've tried to take a couple pictures. I've watched a YouTube tutorial how to do it. But I am one of the most ignorant people when it comes to cameras. I know nothing. So you're going to see, hopefully, an increase in quality of the video. I pray this looks good. I pray this is actually recording. Dear Lord, I hope this is recording with audio. Please. Or else that's going on 26 minutes that I have to do over. But anyway guys, that is all. As always, my name is Army-Firedawg. It has truly been a pleasure, my friends, and most importantly, and please I ask of you, stay safe.